What's up, guys? This is Carter Thomas with Coin Mastery TV. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell to get notified. Brand new episodes, Monday through Friday. We're talking about cryptocurrency. We're talking about crushing life and making profits at the same time. So today what we're talking about specifically is Bitcoin making a big comeback, so to speak, and having a huge impact on many of these altcoins, having a bit of a, taking a bit of a breather, seeing the altcoins come back a little bit. We're talking about Ethereum hitting 1,000, Coinbase coming out and saying that they are not officially releasing any new coins, or they haven't decided, which, whatever, we'll talk about that. And then talk about a couple of coins that are relatively low market cap that I am pretty bullish on this year, and we're not going to get in too much depth, but I figured I'd give you guys the heads up on them. I think once a quarter, I think I want to let you know on some of the smaller coins that I'm really interested in, so that you know that it's not just all about the big three, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, which is really where I think the big gains are from. All right, Bitcoin, what we're looking at is after a bit of a consolidation pattern. Remember, many of you guys were watching Bitcoin just kind of floundering around the 14,000 up and down area. Had a bit of a breakout this morning. Really just bounced off that that line here, the 3.382 line, and then seeing some resistance at the 0.236 line. All right, right around 16,500, which is also the previous resistance back at the end of December. And you could make a case for it early December. But if it breaks through here and then it gets up to the new all-time high, right around 19,000, 20,000, that's when it's party time. From here to 19,000, it's really anyone's guess. It could come back down here. If it breaks through this very loose trend line, this is not, by no means, there's only 2 points of contact. I guess it's 3 technically, but if it breaks through this, may see more consolidation, may see more movement in the alts. If it goes up and it breaks through, gets through that 19,000, we could be in business. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. Remember that this just always happens in cycles. It probably won't go straight up. It'll have another one of these sideways accumulation patterns. So keeping an eye on this. And if you're wondering whether you should sell your altcoins for Bitcoin, I think the question or the answer to that is always, are you in a reactive mode, or are you doing this because you have a plan, you have a strategy for selling it in any particular time? If you don't have a strategy, don't do anything. Just hang tight until you do have a strategy. Create the strategy, then go execute on it, even if it means you lose an extra 2%. It's better habit to get into. Now, Ethereum also had an awesome day. Ethereum is, it broke through 1,000 on pretty much all the exchanges, Coinbase, Bitstamp, everything else. This is the daily candle. We're doing US dollars just because Ethereum is big enough at this point where it is starting to be a little bit of its own beast. Ethereum had a lot of transaction issues because of the ongoing price action. There's also a lot going on with the network. So many of you may have been experiencing Ethereum problems. What's interesting about this chart is that it started off kind of like the parabolic, and then you're starting to see these big horizontal movements that are pretty significant. And when you see the volume increasing and things going horizontal in price, that is a very good sign that it's about to explode. So over here, you saw it go up, you saw it go horizontal. Now this volume wasn't quite as big. It was also New Year's, which may have played a part, but then you see it explode again. So typically what's going to happen now, without, it's not a prediction or anything, it'll probably go horizontal for a little bit longer. I know these are daily candles, so I don't know if it's going to be a couple days, maybe a couple hours. And then it'll pierce through again. But typically when you see these kind of stairs, it's more of a horizontal as opposed to like the parabolic kind of up and down like we saw with Bitcoin or Stellar Lumens or anything like that. So Ethereum's looking good. They're having transaction problems, but they're also addressing that with scaling, as Vitalik tweeted about. That's one of their major initiatives, is scaling. Speaking of Twitter, let's talk about Coinbase. Coinbase playing some proactive what do you call it when you I guess being proactive, as we saw as a lot of these assets, specifically Ripple, just going through insane gains. And a lot of that was driven with this rumors of it being listed on Coinbase. Many of you saw those videos being floated around and everything else. And they came out and they said, listen, nothing is confirmed here. We have like an internal group that decides this sort of thing. Nothing has been decided. Nobody knows, blah, blah, blah. And it's pretty obvious to me, this is like 100% done for legal ramifications. Like, they need to prove that they are making their best effort in case Ripple does come out and, it is true. I do not know. Nobody really knows, but they're trying to play, they're at least trying to do that. That is part of the reason why you saw a big drop in Ripple. Ripple was really the biggest coin out there. As Bitcoin ran, as Ripple came down, they always kind of work together because you got to sell one to get the other. A lot of the other altcoins also dropped to 20-25%, which in crypto world, crazy. One thing that's really interesting from a psychological standpoint is that altcoins can drop like 15 or 20% or go up 15 to 20%. And we're like, oh, obviously that's cool. Bitcoin does this and everyone loses their mind. Now, I know that it's a little bit of apples and oranges from a market cap standpoint and the impact of all the other coins. But from your portfolio standpoint and from the media standpoint, everything else, it's just funny how more cavalier people are with altcoins and the gains and losses they make on altcoins than with Bitcoin. And there's a million reasons for that. But it's just the psychological thing to keep in mind, right? Money is money. And however you want to measure your money, that's fine. But a loss is a loss. So you got to protect your money, whether you're in altcoins or whether you're in Bitcoin, whether you're in Ethereum. But don't get used to, oh, well, it just went down 30%. Oops. I went up so much, like, great. You want to protect these losses just as vigilantly. Is that a word? As vigilant, whatever, as you would on Bitcoin. So that's what I always try to keep in mind as these sort of things happen, is making sure that you minimize these as much as you possibly can, or at least have a plan. And when it comes to buying back in, when's the good time to buy back in? A lot of that comes down to charting, and a lot of that just comes down to Bitcoin, right? I would watch Bitcoin first before I make any decisions on altcoins buy-in. And then if I was going to buy back in on an altcoin, if I was in your position, I would wait to see a volume surge on any coin, which would indicate that Bitcoin is really going sideways at that point. So in these transition days, it's very hard to make, or it's hard to profit, right? Typically what you want to do is make your move 2 or 3 days ago so that you're profiting on days like today. And if that's not the case for you, that's not a big deal. It just means that next time you want to be prepared. You want to have a plan in place. I'm putting KuCoin up here just because Binance, as far as I can tell, at least yesterday, stopped accepting new users. I don't think that they're back up quite yet. So if you want to get an account, go to coinmastery.com/KuCoin, because these guys have a lot of the new kind of hot ICO coins that Binance was having. The volume is growing, everything else, they got a couple new ones like Riblox and Dent and, Deep Brain Chain and all these kind of hot, trendy coins right now. Make sure you always get accounts on all these, because if one goes down, you want to be able to move it over, have it somewhere else. Bit of macro news that's just always fun. And I think, we at least in the U.S., I think this is kind of a global thing. People went away for the holidays, or they cooled down for the holidays, had a happy new year, drank a little too much champagne, woke up, tried to go to the gym, didn't work out that well, getting back into the flow. And then the first week is coming to an end. And then next week, things will start to be like, okay, 2018, what are we doing? You start to see the media start to ramp up again. And the direction that the media takes is going to be very interesting. I think that you're going to see banks start to take a very stronger stance against crypto. Merrill Lynch bars trading of the Bitcoin fund in futures, right? however, the ramifications of this, whatever, it's kind of obvious in my opinion. But the bigger picture is that I think that banks are going to start to say, hey, the best thing we can do to dampen crypto and to stop crypto or slow it down is to just not let crypto into the banking world. And if history is any indicator, which it is in fact the indicator, I think that in many ways, this is going to accelerate the true vision of Bitcoin, of cryptocurrency to a certain extent, but definitely of Bitcoin, which is if banks make it hard to go from crypto to fiat, or if banks make it difficult to own crypto, if they make it hard for you to use a bank, it is going to create a huge demand for people to create solutions outside of banks, whether that be OTC markets, whether that be fiat-friendly crypto banks, whatever, credit cards that use crypto. I don't know what it would be. And I don't know if it would be very quick. It's going to take a while for that to implement. But the more I see these banks say, we're not going to let you use crypto, I think the more they are shooting themselves in the foot, because it's going to get people. They're not going to say, all right, well, I'm going to choose my bank instead of crypto. People are going to say, let's build solutions for crypto and not have to use the bank forever. And they don't think that that's possible for obvious reasons. And I do. And I think a lot of you probably do too. So I look at this stuff and I'm just like, you guys are just, what are you doing? Like, get real. I know how much bigger this world is. I know how much more powerful. I know how much more political. I get it. But this is how it starts. This is the beginning of the end for institutions. And nothing could make me more excited, except for a couple small cap coins, which I want to talk about now. And again, I'm not going to get into the details of all these. I have done plenty of research on all three of these coins, but I think that I would encourage all of you to go do your own research, which if you saw my Twitter post the other day, go to twitter.com/Carter Thomas, about why it's good to go do your own research. Long story short is that it gives you strong hands, and strong hands are what really will make you a lot of money in cryptocurrency. You got to be able to hold it long enough to realize the big gains. So the three that are pretty small, but and I own all three of these for obvious reasons. So like full transparency here. First one is Aeon. And I've been researching Aeon for a better part of 7 months, and Aeon is, its tagline is, it's the Litecoin of Monero. So if Bitcoin has Litecoin, which is kind of like where they test everything, it's faster, more lightweight, it's just more of a test bed for Bitcoin. And then you have Monero, which is one of the biggest privacy coin, is the biggest privacy coin, I would say. And then, but Aeon hopefully will be a lightweight kind of test version of Monero. Now, the downside is that Aeon is a very, very small team. It's actually one of the original Monero developers, and it's really much in its infancy, but they get it. They have a great product. It's a very strong community. It's small. It's kind of under the radar. I don't think that this is going to be a hypey, big blowout one. I wouldn't expect this to just be on the front page of any on CNBC anytime soon, but I do think it has a lot of really good signs from a technical, from a product standpoint. Like the people behind this coin, they know what they're doing. The same way that the Monero team is very impressive in my opinion. So if you're interested in that sort of model, where it's a, it's very similar to a bigger version, but it's helping the ecosystem grow from a product standpoint. This is really interesting. Eventually, they want to make this very mobile friendly, so that you could essentially mine on your phone while it's in your pocket. Stuff like that. So check it out. It's not for everybody, but I think it's cool, and I think it's going to do really well. Second one, Viacoin, which I've been on and off about Viacoin for a while, but I've been watching it, and it's kind of a similar situation to Aeon. They have one really, really smart developer, this guy Merrill, who's done some really impressive work from the product side. And he has done a lot with kind of like what Vertcoin did, kind of like what Litecoin does, but he has taken kind of the Bitcoin, Litecoin, blockchain style and just added all of the really fast, powerful currency style features to it, and added a bit of privacy. They just released a new update actually with some pretty cool privacy updates. But he's really embedding or adding all of the features that these bigger coins can't add. It's very fast. It's very well coded. And they've got some good plans for 2018. They're bringing on some new people, stuff like that. They got all the wallets. It syncs really quickly. It's just an impressive coin. It's very small. It's a really good product. So again, these are not high marketing coins by any means. But that's typically the ones that I find have the most staying power, is the ones that have really good products. And eventually they get their time to shine. So go check out Viacoin. I think it's an impressive one. These are also I like the supplies on these. Last but certainly not least, Pepe Cash. Now, this one took me a little while to get my head around. It's if you guys know the history of Pepe, it's kind of a ridiculous story, and the way it manifested itself into the political system, which unfortunately got a pretty bad rap, like the alt-right and all that. This has nothing to do with that. It's really about creative assets and like digital assets that you can collect. So the idea is that there's all these digital assets, right? There's this digital artwork mostly about Pepe and frogs and whatever else. And the idea is that you use Pepe Cash and you can own like a copy of one of these coins. So right, for Shady Lounge, there's 808 issued. You could buy one so that you get individual rights. You get the like a print of a painting. You get the actual like version number 126 or whatever it may be. And it drives this kind of digital asset marketplace, which in itself may seem like, hey, this is kind of weird. But Pepe Cash is built on Counterparty, which is, so if you see it here, Counterparty is a really strong platform. It's built on top of Bitcoin. And they're doing a lot of really interesting. The transaction volume of both Counterparty and Pepe Cash is astronomical. It's something that people don't realize, is that how much transaction is actually going through Pepe Cash right now. And if you notice on Twitter, more and more people are starting to use Pepe memes, all of this stuff. And while right now it's Pepe Cash, it's used for rare Pepes and it's used for this kind of digital artwork. As the ecosystem expands, the technology of Pepe Cash can be used to create new digital asset marketplaces. So I don't know about you, but I collected baseball cards when I was a kid. I played Magic cards for a little bit too. And I know how much I enjoyed collecting stuff and owning it. And I'm very, very, very confident that that is going to continue for the next however many years. And it's going to take on a digital format. You go through CoinMarketCap and you see a lot of these new big currencies coming out, like Wax is one, Decentraland is one, Pepe Cash is one, and they're starting to monetize digital assets, or not monetize, but create a marketplace out, tokenize digital assets, I should say. And I think Pepe Cash is a very good. It's got the best community. It's kind of the most OG of all of them. Again, I don't think this one's gonna go crazy. It's not on the main exchanges by any means, but you'll see. I mean, if you buy some of this and you'll just see it start to manifest itself. You'll see people starting on Twitter being like, "How is this thing everywhere? Why do people start to use this?" And it's just going to grow. I think the scarcity in digital asset collection is going to be a very, very big thing in the next 1 to 3 years. I think the Pepe Cash is in a very good position to capitalize on that. So that's what I would say. So these are three that are not hypey, that are just like really good products. They're pretty they're pretty focused, especially on the dev side, but I like them. I think that those are the coins that will consistently do well. They'll hold their value nicely, and they'll still produce some pretty astronomical gains over the long term, which is exciting. So I would encourage you, like I said, go check them out. Do your own research. Don't just go blindly buy this stuff. Make sure that it's something you believe in or you like or you agree with me on, and let it rip. With that, it's Friday. We keep this a little short. Go watch Bitcoin, the GDAX of the Netflix of crypto world. And I will catch you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Peace out.